This is breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.
Well, there's urgency every night. I think, you get asked that question. It's not like we went into last night's game not wanting to win. We had two opportunities earlier to finish series. We did both. Last night we lost the game in overtime where I thought there's some good hockey, pockets of good, and pockets where they were better than us, and I think we were better than them at times. So at the end of the day, we'll, as we always do, look at the things that can help us be better. But there's urgency, but there's always pushback from different teams lose a game, or in this case, they lost 3. So you have to expect that, and I look at it as their best players made some plays, and their goaltender was solid, ours was solid, and the shot makes the difference, We're net front battle, and we get called for, a penalty in a battle, and they take advantage. So there wasn't a lot to choose from. And now you go to tomorrow, and we'll have a mindset of we want to finish it off again. And we just need to do the little things right to do it and be on time with them. Maybe that's where we could have been better, as right from the get-go, get to your game. But I think every team is trying to, no one goes into a game thinking, we'll wait around to the second period. It's just the way it works out some nights.
Yes, Steve Granger with The Athletic. I remember going up to Dallas after Game 2, we kind of asked you about the matchups, and you said, well, let's see how Pete kind of does things in Dallas. Now that you played 2 games with him having last change, how different do you think it is now that you're back at home?
Well, they've got one dynamic line. They've got other very good players. It's why they're where they are, and they rely on that line, and it was the difference last night. So we have certain players we feel that can neutralize it maybe better than others, and sometimes it's night to night. I like all our center icemen. They're all good defensively, skate well. That's something to keep up with Hintz. To get over top of them, you have to skate well. So we've used William Karlsson, and we've talked about that and why. He's done a good job. And at home, you can control that a little more. Again, we don't want to get out of the rhythm of our game, but I'm sure you'll see tomorrow. We'll try to use that, assuming we're not putting a tired William Karlsson line out there because they've just killed a penalty, been on the power play, whatever the case may be. So we're going to trust the people that go over the boards. There's a D pair involved in that too. I think we had a breakdown on the 5-on-5 goal just before they scored in our net front situation. We could have put out a fire. So there's some things you can do differently, and that's the teaching part of it. So I don't know if he'll try to keep them away all night. All I know is we're going to roll our 4 lines. Who they play against, like I said, might change in game, but generally speaking, we trust all our players, and Carly's been really good in that role, and if he's the guy that has it, hopefully he has success.
Bruce Carey, Las Vegas Golden Knights. You've got 50 goals in the press box right now, 50 National Hockey League goals, and Ben Hutton. You've won 5 of your last 6. How do you sort of gauge looking at your depth and considering it, and then also it's not broke, why fix it?
Well, I like the last part a lot better. So we're not going to lose a game and assign blame to an individual. If there's a better player to go in, we'll talk about it. We made a change the last series to have another center ice, and we discussed that. Part of it was Carly's situation. Part of it's just having another centerman that could skate with some high-end centermen. Right now, I like our group of 18 guys, and some nights there's a line that's better than another that we could get a little more out of, but at the end of the day, I think they've all contributed. That's why we're up 3-1. So that's how we're looking at it. Now, if there's an injury or a guy that's playing through one that's hindering his play, then yes, we'll say, okay, maybe we got to give him a break and put someone else in. We certainly trust the guys that are sitting up in the press box, but we always discuss that, and we've done it once, and we'll do it again if need be.
Paulo Dos Santos, NHL.com. Bruce, Jack Eichel hasn't found the net this series, but he's impacting the game in so many ways. How much has this game evolved from the beginning of this playoffs to now in terms of impacting the game in other ways other than scoring?
He just looks more confident, more He's putting himself in situations to demand the puck, and by that I mean puck support. He's coming skating off the puck well, so you're almost forced to give it to him. He's finding that ice. Last night was a good example. He was in space quite a bit. Breakaway, 2-on-1, some outside drives on a couple of their D 1-on-1. He took them on. So that's when you know a guy's feeling it, when you start challenging people 1-on-1. It's only a matter of time if he gets those opportunities that he'll score. Got to credit the goalie last night. He made some good saves on him. So that's where his game's evolved. I think he's a little more just knowing he can be a difference maker. At the start, I think there's a bit of a feeling out process for everybody in their first playoff, and I think he got to it fairly quickly. But that's probably the difference right now. Just a little more, give me the damn puck, and I want to be a difference maker. And he's done it at both ends of the ice. If you watch him away from the puck, when it gets turned over, he's one of the first guys tracking back to try to keep it out of our net. So it's both ends of the ice.
Bruce, Darren Millard, Vegas Golden Knights. Given that the overtimes haven't lasted long and you coach a 4-line team, what's your approach going into an extra session with your bench management?
Well, we approach it like we're going to use everybody, but you're coming out of an intermission, so we haven't gotten far enough, I don't think, to sort of say we're going to play 3 lines for a stretch here, or double up if a line's really had a good shift. So that would be it, but we would still use everybody, like Winnipeg, for example, right? We went into a second overtime. We used all 4 lines. They probably played a shifter, maybe less a period or 2, but the line that scored the goal was Howden, Barbashev, and Amadio. So, I think that it works for us. It just does. I mean, typically our 4th line, maybe they don't score as much, but you can rely on them to defend well and play the right way. So it might neutralize one of their offensive lines, and then you have an imbalance with your next 3. So I've looked at it that way a lot. Regular season, overtime. Obviously things are magnified in overtime, one mistake, but I think our 4th line are usually not victimized by poor mistakes. And sometimes the other team just makes a good play and they're out there against good players.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review Journal. Bruce, I know you've been happy with the kill for a while. Last night they got 2. Was there adjustments they made you have to adjust back to, or is that just the odds kind of catching up?
Well, the first goal, I think, was we went out to meet the high tip Pavelski, which you have to take that play away. It goes right to Robertson. He makes a really good, looks like it's in Hill's glove, right? So we were collapsing to there, and he makes a really high-end play. The other one, I think we just got, certainly there was a breakdown with our forward being a little bit low, but in general the goalie loses his stick and it became a bit of a mad scramble. They make a good play. So obviously we got to you can't allow them multiple power play goals. I think that will catch up to you. It did last night. Where we can be a little bit better is probably is zone denials, face-off clears, all those things limit your time in your end. We've talked about that a lot. I think that's where we can make small adjustments probably without getting out of our structure in our own end. But like I said, give them credit. They hit the net. Great shot by Pavelski. We had a power play too, and if we execute better, maybe it turns out different. So we have to look at both sides of the coin. But again, PK in the playoffs has been probably the one area we need to find a way. And I don't think it's from lack of effort. We just got to find a way.
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Did you notice anything different without Ben in the lineup last night?
I mean, he's a good player for him. He's a net front presence, but they scored a net front presence power play goal with Robertson there. They scored another power play goal and he wasn't on it. So obviously it didn't hurt them in that area. There's a physicality element where he's good and effective on the forecheck. But I thought the guys they put in it seemed like that Olsen, I don't know a lot about him, had a solid game. So other guys picked up the slack for him. That's what you typically want to do for your captain. And that's what we would have liked to do for Nabry, on that penalty late. No one wants to take a penalty in overtime. He's just battling a guy. And we would have liked to kill the penalty for his sake. He does a lot of that for us. So there's a little bit of that mentality that goes on, and that's, I'm sure, how they looked at it for their team. So I don't want to say it did or didn't help them. I mean, they played well without him, and they had to.
Any more questions? Okay,
thank you.
hockey and sports baseball. And just love sports baseball. So, pretty much. Oh, yeah. Always said separated my own life was out. It's just been so good. Pretty amazing. Most people are sorry to make it. At least
They jumped out like now. It's still the watch for
where was it? Main on the game.
Oh yeah, it's like beach.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Good turnout, right? Oh, that's, you know, I think even that changed one. I thought it was the overall.
Well, I think it's the first 2 rounds they stayed over. The best chance they probably just
So long, which is
Dallas back to Vegas. It's probably not too bad. And they, you know, they play Chuck against the Reds, so there's nothing worth all that. It's 2 hours back to hours.
you know, the thing is too, by the time you see this thing from Dallas, by the time you get to it, so now you'll be back
Yeah.
there.
So then you have, otherwise then you have to fly the way they can get back. Where their families are back now.
Right. Yeah, they're right there. The line change also.
I'm sure they are. If they go to the final, they play.
I'm sure they'll stay over too.
Just play the game and get on the plane, get back to town, back home. So having stayed in the elevator hotel, and still have all that.
Sorry, who are you calling for?
They turned all those guys in.
I don't even know what happened.
Took one out to get there. What do we got there? Questions for Alec?
Danny Webster, Las Vegas Sun. Alec, I'm pretty sure you guys expected Robertson to get his shots. Last night he had 11. Just was it more so anything different with what he did, or what you guys need to do to adjust going to tomorrow?
I mean, they did a good job at generating opportunities. I think we perhaps weren't, exactly thrilled about some parts of our game. He's a dynamic player. Their back was against the wall, and one of their top players made plays. That's the name of the game. Sometimes we just gotta, take a focus on that and eliminate it going forward.
Jesse Granger with The Athletic for Alec. They're trying to do something that hasn't happened in a long time, coming back from 3-0. You were on the last team to do it. I'm curious, does that experience and being in that position and coming back help you on this side of things, trying to make sure that doesn't happen?
I don't know. I think just experience in general. I mean, I think I would probably rely on the experience that I've been in, before being up 3-0 and not closing a team out, but in that game 4. But the fourth one's the hardest to get. They're a really good team, so it's they played a really good hockey game, and they made it extremely difficult for us to win that game. That said, we were one shot away, but in terms of experience, I think I would just rely on experience in general rather than having been on the other side of that. But yeah.
Adam Hill, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Aiden, for you, the opportunity, I know you guys wanted to get it done last night and close it out, but the opportunity to be on home ice, get it done in front of your fans, I guess, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's exciting. I mean, anytime you pick whether you can, you obviously want to win in 4. You want to close it on the road, but it's always nice to come back and be in front of the home crowd. And playing in our building is always a great time. So, you know what, I'm excited for tomorrow.
Mark Anderson, AP. Alec, you guys have been, until last night, really good at closeout games recently. What has been the mindset, generally speaking, going into a closeout game? And how's that been so effective for you?
I don't really know. I think, in terms of an approach to the game, it's finding that balance between knowing what's at stake and also approaching it, as another playoff game. I think you're better off focusing on the process, knowing that if you play a good game, if you play a good 60, if you stick to your game, then the end result will take care of itself. I think the guys have done a good job of going into games with that opportunity, but like I said, it's playoff hockey. It's also the Dallas Stars. I don't think anyone anticipated anyone getting swept on either side of things. This is playoff hockey. Things are, punches are thrown one way, or and then reciprocated. And they threw a good one last night, and it's up to us to, come back tomorrow and be ready for that, and play our A game and try to dictate our pace at home.
Questions? Jesse?
I don't think that's working, so you don't have to talk into it. I think they're playing. Oh, all right, fair enough.
Jesse Granger,
you're smarter than I am.
For Aiden, you talked when you first came in, kind of were thrown into the playoffs. You talked a lot about the things you were working on, how you were kind of staying on your skates. You're able to kind of perfect the details when you're practicing. I'm curious, have those things gotten sharper? Is it harder to keep those things on your mind as you're getting into the flow of playing over the game now and in big games?
No, I just kind of think it's kind of you keep those habits in your practice and morning skates and whatever time you do get on the ice, as we're not practicing as much as we do in the season right now. But I think they just kind of come naturally. So you just kind of give yourself little reminders throughout the game. But yeah, you just kind of play your game, let it all come to you. And I'm feeling pretty confident right now, so just keep that rolling.
Anything else for you guys? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
You've been watching breaking news from the Las Vegas Review-Journal, sponsored by Michael Gaughan's South Point Hotel, Casino, and Spa.